are these people?
I think it's clear. I think we're trying to illustrate this point that our government is run by terrorists that are willing to do like pretty much anything. Listen, like how like dystopian this is, and like this caught wind last week, and I want to draw people's attentions to it. So listen to this.
Does anybody live in New York City, and did you just have your house sprayed with pesticides? I was in my living room. When these trucks come by, they're making these dystopian announcements. Run inside, get inside.
The city is applying pesticide to reduce the threat of the Nile virus.
What the?
Exposure to the pesticide, please. Go indoors immediately until the trucks have passed. The city is applying pesticide to reduce the threat of the
This is like
Nile
fucking
virus.
RoboCop.
This is the creepiest.
Or Judge Dredd. I guess Judge Dredd is kind of what I'm saying.
Look at this. What the? It's going right in my window.
Escape from New York. Like so many dystopian movies, just like flood my soul randomly.
Well, should have told me.
Fucking crazy. So they're just gassing us. No big deal, but it's pesticides, right? But they're supposed to be good for us, right?
The city is applying pesticide to reduce the threat of the Nile virus. To minimize exposure to the pesticide, please go indoors immediately until the trucks have passed. The city is applying pesticide to reduce the threat of the Nile virus.
Oh my
To minimize exposure to the pesticide, please go indoors immediately.
At least he's getting a cop at the same time. Dude, that's messed up. That just looks. What a joke. That doesn't look healthy. It's crazy to me. If you have to, you're good. If you have to send a freaking cop in front of a truck spraying dangerous chemicals into the sky to tell you it's not dangerous chemicals, that like they're already fucking with your head, you know?
So this is what they're doing. I want to make this clear for those living in New York. This is not good, especially for your pets.
And it's not only happening in New York.
It's not just New York either. What they're using is, and these are the main, that are like the larvicide is like effectively, it's like not as bad, but the adulticide is really, especially this Anvil 10+10, it's extremely strong, is toxic, affects your endocrine system, which ironically the COVID vaccine does the same thing, messes with your hormones, and it kills small animals and kills pets. And you might have seen T-Lab cover a lot of this. I mean, I've actually been sharing sources with him about this because this is really concerning. There's actually a whole movement behind this that I'll show in a little bit. But look at how many events that they've done already. So this is and you have to ask yourself. So they're starting this.
Holy shit!
So they started in June, like.
Yeah.
I saw someone ask like, oh, like why are they doing this in the middle of September? They've been doing this all summer. Look at this.
Yeah.
Let me count. Okay. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 locations. 21. Where did they just go today?
Yeah, that's creepy. Bronx.
So they rescheduled the spraying in the Bronx today. But listen, guys, if you are in the Bronx, I'll show this.
Get the fuck out of there.
No, really, like hide your pets,
I know.
stay inside. And isn't it strange how the one thing that can sort of like prevent, like, let's get into what this Anvil 10+10 is.
Yeah, I want to know more about that.
Anvil is a pesticide product that uses to control outdoor residential areas. Short-term exposure to very high levels of pyrethroid pesticides similar to sumethrin can affect the nervous system, causing effects such as loss of coordination, tremors, tingling, and numbness in areas of the skin and contact. Short-term exposure to high levels of petroleum solvents can cause irritation of the eyes, skin, nose, throat, or lung. Vomiting or the central nervous system depression may occur if very high levels of petroleum solvents are ingested. There are no studies of examining whether the use of anvil control mosquitoes has caused any long-term effects in humans.
No studies.
I'm going to show a little bit that sort of
yeah, can't show it's unhealthy if you've never done any studies to prove it.
They tell you if you're pregnant, stay away.
That's nuts. Yeah, so do you think that they're who are they? Do you think that they're just targeting everybody, or do you think that they're targeting specific people? Do you think that I think it's obvious that they're trying to hurt us, but
so the insecticide that they're using, Anvil 10+10, this is the stronger version. So Anvil 10+10 is often the product of choice for aerial applications. That's when they go in the sky.
Yeah,
they're spraying this shit off the trucks. So whereas Anvil 2+2, which is the weaker version, is typically that's one that's applied by truck. New York is spraying the fucking strongest pesticide that they can use, and they're not even doing it properly. They're not doing it via aerial. They're using an ATV and spraying this shit all over your house and your pets and stuff. Hide your pets. Stay inside. Like I said, check out this schedule because they have a whole. They're coming. They're coming to your neighborhood, and they're gonna spray fucking pesticides all over your property. They're gonna claim, you may be sensitive.
If you're sensitive, everybody's sensitive to it.
Who's sensitive to pesticides? Really?
Yeah. You should be fine, man. No big deal. Stop being a pussy.
There's a lot of there's just a lot of overlap with the COVID narrative here.
I would see. Okay. So do you think that they're just trying to make people sick?
And look, it lowers your immune system for sure.
Yeah.
So this is Massachusetts. It's not just New York, guys. This is Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Project. Contains synthetic pyrethroids, which emulate naturally occurring insecticides.
That's crazy. Let me show my screen really quick because I just think it kind of gives a little bit more credence to what we're talking about. So I was just pulling up Bronx because I was kind of curious what the situation was. So that big island right here, that's fucking Rikers. Why would they make Rikers a designated zone if not to be a freaking prison camp?
Oh, Bronx is a really poor area. They're probably going to the poorest country.
But Rikers Island is like a fucking it's just a prison, right? Why would they designate the prison as a disaster resilience zone if not to just make everybody into freaking prison labor in that area or to relocate people onto that? Anyway, I was just noticing that, but you can see there's a bunch of areas in New York actually. But I don't want to take away from your comment, from your stuff.
No, don't worry about it, man. Anything you described, look. I mean, the no spray protests have called for the organic methods of preventing West Nile virus due to the concerns of the potential health and environmental effects of the spray. The active compound is an endocrine disruptor. The same thing as the vax. Peter McCullough talks about this. I'm not going to say too much.
Nope.
But it's toxic to be.
I mean, we've talked about endocrine disruptors in general as well as just being extremely harmful and the kind of forever chemicals and PFAS and all that stuff and just wreaking havoc on us 24/7. It's just
been here for a while. Look, Governor Mitt Romney, Massachusetts, declares state of emergency off of a similarly some rare virus. They have to come up with a new threat, with a new evil ghost in order to attack and establish all of these measures and justify spraying literal poison on you.
So it has to be population control, right? It just has to be straight up population control.
That's the only thing that I can come to. That's literally the only thing.
I know you got an order for these things, but do you have in your notes the stuff where it shows all the different rates of West Nile in the different cities? Because I think that's one of the things that kind of drove your case, was that the places that were getting doused with these chemicals weren't really seeing improvement in.
I'm gonna show. Yeah, I'm gonna show the.
Okay,
I'm gonna show the
okay, cool.
But here's this. So this is important whenever you're looking at like a specific chemical. If you want the no bullshit answers, look up the material safety data sheet.
Yeah, I'm sure if you've ever worked in a kitchen or worked with freaking cleaning materials and stuff like that, you know what the this hazard safety sheet stuff is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Vector control is any method to limit or eradicate the mammals, birds, insects, or other arthropods, here collectively called vectors, which transmit disease pathogens. Most vector control, mosquito control using
first.
So wait, inhalation, they said remove the person. So if you start breathing this stuff, you shouldn't be breathing this stuff.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
And then like the freaking cops in New York are just like, oh, just close your doors, no big deal. Like you shouldn't be anywhere near this stuff. You know, it's just, and you said this.
No, go take. There's studies behind this. Pesticide exposure, the hormonal function of the female reproductive system.
So that's
There's another really scary one with the pyrethroids. Again, insecticide exposure, cognitive development disabilities in children. Again, this shit is really not good.
So now on this point, I do want to say that they actually make a reference to kind of dumbing down our nation so that you have plenty of low skill labor available. So that's kind of where my head is on this. You know, if we've already established that they are using these pesticides for harm, it stands to reason that, you know, they're deliberately trying to dumb down the population as well. So I mean, it's like not even surprising to me. It's not a mistake, it's a feature.
To get rid of mosquitoes. They say there are no health concerns, but people who are sensitive to pesticides or want to avoid
what does that mean, sensitive to pesticides?
Exposure can stay
they're
inside
basically
during the spraying. This happening in areas of Manhattan and the Bronx from 8:30 tonight until 6 tomorrow morning. These maps show the areas being sprayed. The health department applies pesticides every summer to reduce the number of mosquitoes and lessen the risk of mosquito-borne diseases.
Well, there's more on this stuff, but
oh yeah. Well, you have the different cities, right? Because I thought one of the craziest things was that you told me about DC.
Right. So I'll pull up the note. So this is the source that I found. I shared this with T-Lab. I'm pretty sure he did a segment on it yesterday. But this is the No Spray Coalition. Now it's making me do a CAPTCHA, verifying I'm not a robot.
Totally right, Joe, by the way.
I really want to, the reason it's important to point this out is because people have been on this for years. 23 years on. New York City just sprayed toxic pesticides all over. No, there's an updated.
Oh, okay.
Here we
Sorry.
go. Challenging New York City's toxic pesticide spray program, now in its 24th year in a row.
Oh, so my God.
For the 24th year, New York City's pesticide no spray program, dousing New Yorkers and the entire ecosystem with toxic pesticides, continues with no end in sight. Unlike its dramatic beginnings with Mayor Rudolph Giuliani providing daily updates from his World Trade Center bunker, the current spraying receives little to no notice or fanfare. The No Spray Coalition continues its fight against this toxic pesticide spraying. The organization won a lawsuit in 2007 against the spraying, including the settlement by the city admitting to its harmful impact. Yet the indiscriminate spraying continues. So this is it, guys. What are you going to do when your judicial system you can't? What happens when you?
It doesn't. Yeah, they don't even care. There's no regulation to stop it. They're like, "Yep, you're right. It's poisonous. Suck it up."
People deserve to at least know how and why they will be sprayed with these harmful chemicals, and yet there remains little to insufficient notification. There is sparse, if any, media coverage. I just showed you a video with 600 views or something like that.
Yeah.
The only way for the public to be alerted about this is the spraying is to like come across a flyer or something. And there's tons of flyers in New York City. You're not going to ever be notified, but no one's going to ever know this is coming. I know everyone I speak to, no one knows anything about this. Elected officials have taken a hands-off approach to the point where they don't even notify their constituents.
That's fucked up.
16 adulticide. I just counted 22 for you. 16 adulticiding events have taken place since July 24th. That includes Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, the Staten Island.
Dude. So it's like you have to think if they're not warning anybody, then like you have to be cynical about it, right? You have to assume that they're not doing it to help people. They're doing it to
close your windows, stay inside.
Yeah, they're putting you deliberately in harm's way because you can't show me this stuff and be like, okay, here's a bunch of stuff proving that this stuff is harmful. And then they're like gassing you with stuff that's meant to be on a top of a crop duster from a fucking pickup truck.
Mayor Rudy Giuliani gave daily ludicrous updates from his World Trade Center bunker. Continues 3 mayors later with Mayor Eric Adams. The pyrethroid, we just showed the danger of the pyrethroid pesticides being sprayed have been shown to be harmful to human health and the ecosystem, which includes animals, birds, wildlife, insects, and more, which kill off the natural predators of these mosquitoes, which include dragonflies and bats, and the spraying will occur by truck with pesticides fogged from the back of it. So since its inception, the spray program to kill mosquitoes said to be carrying the West Nile virus has never been properly reviewed by any city, despite the continued use of toxic, harmful, and carcinogenic chemicals over the city's population and environment. The city spraying pyrethroid pesticides annual 10 plus 10 plus duet. I'll show the other one a little bit. Equally harmful, containing not only synthetic sumethrin but cancer-causing pyrethropotoxide. So in 2021,
straight up carcinogens.
You want to see something really sad?
I mean, what have you shown me so far? This is the good news.
So in 2021, let me show you the lawsuit real quick.
It's just wild to me when like you have just a little bit of information. You know, you could show people freaking like 1 or 2 of those things showing that it's harmful, and like I don't think anybody would be for pesticides if they knew what the fuck was going on. They would read like they could probably Google some of this shit, like use Google of all search engines to come to the same conclusion that pesticides are harmful. And it's just so like swept under the rug and not talked about. Really kind of.
This is what's amazing to me. Like I really appreciate like the fact that like Ty Fisher, like he's a good comedian too. He does a good Trump impression. But the fact that like people can like now that like we're in like in a post-truth, like post-COVID era, like people can be like pointing out things like saying like, hey, that's strange. And then we like start to question it, and then we learn more about it, and then we learn more and more shit that our government is doing to us behind our backs, completely behind our backs, and we don't know. Yeah, they're just spraying poison on us now. They're just literally spraying poison. Look, in fact, there's no evidence the number of mosquitoes, let alone those that carry the West Nile virus, has ever been diminished by the pesticide spray.
Oh my God.
For 24 years. That may seem counterintuitive, but in fact, studies show that the mosquitoes after spraying in larger numbers than before, which are now resistant to the pesticides.
So they're super
Meanwhile, the pesticides not only cause cancer and disrupt your endocrine system, but they're greatly reducing sperm counts. Same thing they're doing with the water. And this shit gets in the water supply. So in 2000, Joe Coppin, the New York City like Environmental Law Justice Project, in conjunction with the No Spray Coalition, all these groups joined together by Beyond Pesticides, Disabled in Action. All of these groups, these activist groups, have been on this for a while. It's important to highlight these guys because they don't get any. This doesn't get any. No one's going to talk about this. No one is going to talk about this. I guarantee you won't see this on the fucking Vanguard.
I wonder if this is the same sort of shit.
Besides us and T-Lab, and maybe that's it. No one will call this shit out because it's the same thing with the COVID narrative. People don't want to have that like thought in their head that like
the government's acting like out to kind of kill us.
And, like evil, that they're like literally deliberately spraying poison on us for like what seems like whatever, like I don't know what intended purpose is. You can only come to your own conclusion is population
depopulation, lower IQs.
And they link
sterilization.
So part of the 2007 decision in the No Spray Coalition's lawsuit, the city admitted, signed in writing, stipulated that the pesticides may remain in the environment beyond their intended purpose, cause adverse health effects, kill mosquitoes and natural predators, increase mosquitoes' resistance, and are not improved for direct applications to waterways. This shit gets in the water. The way that they're able to get a settlement out of this is because of the Clean Water Act that Nixon signed, that Nixon put into place.
Same guy who started the EPA.
It's not just in the air, guys. It's not just closing your windows. Like, this shit's in the water supply too.
Yeah, it can't get away from it. It just gets in everything. You know, I wonder if they're going. I wonder, like, you know, we showed the video in my segment with the pipes and the freaking tiny homes. I wonder if they'd have some sort of like modified version of this crap that they'd freaking just douse people. Like, I'm like waiting for the point where we find out that like this like anvil shit is like connected to like Pfizer or Moderna or something like that, and like it's all fucking.
Oh, that's an interesting angle. That's an interesting angle.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm thinking. I'm like, who's making money off of this?
I might do more research. I'm really glad that I found this group though, and this is like a really informative website, nospray.org. Again, this is really talks. They have the studies. They link it all. They have it linked. These are peer-reviewed studies. You can't get away from this, guys. The city admitted and signed in writing that this shit is cancer causing. It reduces your sperm counts, and if you're pregnant or you have pets, you might be in danger. New Yorkers have filed numerous complaints. Many of their pets died as well. And yet city officials have said that they couldn't find anyone sickened by the spraying, despite evidence provided in court that the plaintiffs had thousands of calls to pesticide hotlines. The same officials who certified that the air was safe after 9/11. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That what's his name fought for? I don't even know his name.
John Stewart. Yeah.
Toxicologist Dr. Robert Simone, who took soil samples from around the city following the first year of spraying and around those, the testimony in court was extremely damning to the city's spray program, states the only solution is another lawsuit against the New York City Department of Health. They do not care what they think, and they will not respond unless a judge tells them to. The current spraying is the same pattern of disrespect for the law they have shown since they started spraying.
Okay, so Department of Health. So I'm thinking more.
It's the same thing.
It's more that 1984 shit where it's like Department of Defense is Department of War, Department of Health is actually Department of Sickness. Like, it's just, I'm just like, no faith in our government whatsoever.
We can also apply this to like COVID. I don't think people want to like have that thought that they're health officials are this corrupt that they're willing to jeopardize their physical health and bodies for what is essentially, blatant disregard. I mean, probably.
That's why I'm wondering who's getting paid off of spraying all that shit.
Probably. Here's Delta Methrin.
And exactly,
another pyrethroid. This is the Delta. This is the other one that they're spraying around.
I want to know if you keep going down this whole who's getting paid off of producing these chemicals.
This shit attacks your nervous system of the animal. You can spread it through your skin. So if you get it, it's able to pass through a woman's skin through her blood.
Is able to pass from a woman's skin through her blood and into.
Deltamethrin is able to pass from a woman's skin through her blood and into her breast milk.
Oh my God. That's crazy. I mean, we've talked about endocrine disruptors in the past, so it's not even like that, like wild of a thing to consider anymore. He's just like, oh, here's another thing that they're trying to freaking weaponize and freaking kill us with, and make us stupid and make us sterile. And that was another thing I was thinking. It was like, there's been a number of kind of articles that come out periodically, like, oh, men have low testosterone or men have like low sperm count and stuff like that. And I'm like, thinking about this stuff. Yeah, and they're like, why is it happening? Just like pretending like it's not shit like this. Like I would draw a straight line between, low T and low freaking sperm count to something like the pesticides. I would see that connection, especially if they've been doing it for fucking decades, in the biggest cities in our country. Stands to reason that there could be an appreciable amount where they are actually doing population control at a level that they can recognize. Obviously they're not going to fucking publish any studies that show us they're doing population control, but I bet that they can show that they're killing off, X million people per so many years or whatever to make it a good investment for the city and the grifters.
This is just an interesting source from all 2020. I can bet you that they would, if someone got West Nile, they would report it as COVID-19.
I remember that. Yeah.
Coronavirus or West Nile, the CDC or 17 cases of mosquito disease. So what the actual cases, and I wish I had the actual statistic of. So the actual danger of this West Nile virus is essentially you can get it, but your chance of infection is 1 in 5. And then out of the people who get infected, it's maybe mild symptoms. But after
so it's not even that.
Yeah,
you recover from it.
So do this math. You have a 1 in 5 chance of getting infected, and then you have a 1 in 10 chance of dying. So do that math. That's
so 10% of 20%.
Yeah.
So you have a 2% chance. Was that a 2% chance of dying from West Nile? So
that's even if you get it.
What? Well, that's what I'm saying. The overall 20%. So you have 20%, 1 out of 5, and then you have 10% of that, which would be 2%, right? Yeah.
Something like that. It's around 1%.
Crazy.
Possible. Do you see how they're blowing this up?
Did you have something else up? Oh, maybe you got to pull up a new window.
Oh,
I'm
going to play this again.
City has reported its first cases of West Nile virus this year. Health Department. City has reported its first cases of West Nile virus this year. Health Department says 3 people have tested positive, taken to the hospital, but are okay. 2 are from Queens. 1 is from Manhattan. A 4th person in Staten Island is being investigated for possible West Nile virus. The Health Department says the virus has been found in mosquitoes across all 5 boroughs. Officials continue spraying for mosquitoes and encourage everyone to wear.
So let me get this straight. 3 people. So this is not even they don't even have a diagnosis. They have 3 people who just tested positive. That's it. The 4th person, they don't even know.
What if they were given a PCR test for that?
And then all 4 of them are okay. They don't even have symptoms. They went to the hospital and they got sent home because they didn't do what happened to them.
So why are they even turning it into a story? They're just freaking people out unnecessarily.
Here's more fear-mongering.
Over to your health alert. The El Paso Department of Public Health has now confirmed a 3rd case of the neuroinvasive West Nile virus. This time, it's a woman in her 20s confirmed to have contracted the virus, but since she had no underlying conditions, she has already been released from the hospital. Health officials, though, are reminding you to follow the 4 Ds to fight the bite. They are use repellents with DEET, wear long sleeves and pants when outdoors, take extra care during peak mosquito biting hours from dusk until dawn, and finally, number 4, drain all standing water.
Again, this shit gets in the water. Guys, here's the CDC. This is West Nile virus. Fortunately, most people infected with West Nile virus do not feel sick. They don't even get symptoms.
They don't even know that they have it. Yeah.
My math was wrong. It's even smaller than that. About 1 in 5 people who get infected get any symptoms at all. Only 1 in 5 people get any symptoms, and then 1 out of 150 people who get infected actually die. So do that math. 1 in 5 people who actually get infected, 150 of those people will die. So.
So that's
this is not something.
Was it 0.75%?
For us to be spraying for 24 years it's actually kind of ridiculous. Again, this is not just.
And they have no evidence of showing that it's actually effective.
They have they have peer-reviewed science where the CDC admits themselves. Go check out nospray.org. I'll type it in the chat now to get on all of this, because this might be coming to your city too. This is in Florida. Look,
crazy. Did you have something else to pull up? Another video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's what they're using has been used all across the state.
Miami-Dade uses an pesticide called Nile to fight the spread of Zika. That came following recommendations from the CDC and the state health department. Palm Beach County Mosquito Control also uses Nile for aerial sprays, but not to target Zika. But some studies, even a quick CDC search, shows some scary health risks associated with the pesticide, especially our nervous system.
You don't want to go out and eat Nile.
But Dr. Bill Laudo says you shouldn't be paranoid about the potential reactions. He's an
but it's
environmental
fine.
biogeochemist.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't eat it, but
It's fine. Let's see what Nile
this
is.
is so psycho, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, see, I would
the Zika virus may have already been resistant to many of the less toxic pesticides. So the CDC and others have moved towards Nile, which is an organophosphate pesticide used primarily for adult mosquito control. It's neurotoxic. When inhaled, may cause acute illness, including runny nose, coughing. This is not good for you. Skin contact can cause swelling, the site of contact, involuntary muscle contractions. If you have the eyes, it can cause stinging and blurred vision. Within hours of exposure, you can get nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, sweating, weakness, slurred speech. It can trigger acute poisoning. Long-term neurodevelopmental abnormalities in children. I showed you that study as well. This shit is not good. It's not good. And that what I just showed you was in Florida.
Yeah, it's like what there's no argument. They're basically trying to sell us on just being like, oh, do this because we say so. And like you don't even have to do like you've got some good stuff here. But like anybody, if they were aware of how like they're actually doing this pesticide program, kind of, then it's kind of crazy. Like just doing like they can come across this information pretty quickly if they just knew that there was a problem to begin with, you know.
This is New York. Just from June. They've reported no cases of West Nile virus this year. So why are we? So what's the point of this pesticide? I'm like,
dude, you have to like. I mean, you saw my segment. I'm of the cynical opinion that, and this is kind of what I was saying before, you know, with the report on Iron Mountain and kind of like how we always have to be in the state of war, where it's like if we're not waging war with other people, we still have to create a war because we still have to freak out the population, and everybody in government wants to is a Malthusian and wants everybody to die. You know, they want to get the population down to below 1 billion people. And yeah, teamwork, definitely someone's getting the kickback. That's kind of what I was kind of getting at earlier. Whereas like, as I was kind of presenting where there's obviously a grift with the FEMA camps, that there's obviously a grift going on here where these pesticides, you know, there's a company that's getting paid millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to provide these chemicals to these cities. You know, somebody's getting paid just killing people, just like sterilizing people.
You don't think these pesticide companies have an interest? You don't think the New York City, like the pesticide mosquito control, doesn't want their contracts to keep coming? Of course they do.
Exactly.
This is the really tragic part. Look at this. So like, this is from 2021. New York City bans pesticides in parks with push from unlikely force. Children, kindergartners, a bunch of kindergartners now in 7th grade worked for years to urge the city council to approve a ban on ties in parks, playgrounds, and other spaces. From the Black Institute,
kids know about glyphosate. Nice.
These are children. These are kindergartners advocating for no spray, for stopping this.
Good for them. For people who don't know what glyphosate is, I saw that on one of the things. That's what Monsanto uses.
Lawmakers voted unanimously to make New York the nation's largest city to ban toxic pesticides from routine use by city agencies and to push its parks to control weeds, insects, and vermin with nature-based techniques to organic gardening. As soon as the law goes into effect, 30 days when Mayor de Blasio signs it, they can effectively ban it.
Oh, that's funny. You know what this reminds me of? It's like freaking Bill Gates making the argument, telling people that they're stupid for thinking that like planting more trees is going to reduce CO2. It's like, why not? Why don't we just have better like organic techniques to do stuff? And it's like, no, that's stupid. We want to poison people instead.
Keep this in mind. I won't have to worry anymore if I'm just running around that there might be pesticides there, said Jesse Baltham, 12 years old, one of the original activist students. Guess what? In 2021, after the New York City unanimously passed the bill, it was intended to reduce the use of pesticides, yet the New York City Department of Health can issue itself waivers due to the provision of pesticide laws, thereby setting into motion the spraying of toxic pesticides in residential areas and public parks and streets. They're doing it anyway. They're going to keep on doing it anyway. The law's not going to help you. They already paid out a settlement. What are they going to do? What are you going to do when the judicial system is completely frozen? It's exactly like Chris had just said. Like it's like the gears of like social program, like any sort of like help for working class. It's stuck. It can't possibly
completely
provide.
Co-opted by private interests, capital interests. Be curious what these waivers were for. Too, it's like what waivers? You had like a bunch of kids showing you that it was like dangerous, and they didn't want to be around it, and they're like, "What was the waiver? Like, fuck these kids." Okay, check.
I might be interested in like interviewing with one of these people, but like,
dude, they got tons of knowledge. You said they've been doing this stuff for like 20 years, and it's only gotten worse. It's just crazy. You know, but I don't
want to see that map where I was.
It looks like population control to me, man.
I want to make it clear Washington, D.C. is one of the only like major cities that don't do this.
And has never done it, right?
Yeah, you have to wonder why that is.
Yeah. Do you remember what the rate of West Nile is in D.C. as well?
It's effectively, they did a study between major cities that do the spray and that they don't do the spray. I just showed it before. They don't have any there's no
correlation. Yeah.
In fact, it makes it worse. It actually makes it worse because the mosquitoes get resistant to the pesticides, and they come back in bigger numbers.
I remember you showing me something where it showed like DC actually has a higher rate of West Nile anyway, like 6-1 or something like that.
I had that.
But so okay, well then I'll just say like for most rate, all these big cities have an under 2 per 100,000 people West Nile rate, and DC it's over 6 per 100,000 people. Ostensibly because DC there's a lot of politicians flying all over the world. I would think that like that's like a good reason why there might be a bigger more cases of West Nile in DC, and I think that kind of makes the case that even the politicians and the rich fucks all in DC know that the stuff is so bad for you that's like, oh no, like definitely not for us. And we know that West Nile is like you're gonna be fine if you just like take some antibiotics and have some soup and take it easy. If you have any symptoms, like it's just I thought that was one of the like really big points there. It was like to make like the really cynical points there is like even the politicians don't want to be around this shit at all.
That's the extent of like what I had. Perhaps I'll get into this more if I can find like more development.
Follow the money, man.
Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, there's more research to be done. I'm on this. T-Lab seems to be on this. So hopefully we can get more people that are aware of this. And again, Bronx, tomorrow, stay inside because they're going to spray you. This shit is not good. It is not good.
Yeah, and it just, dude, that's so messed up. It's tough today.
Really
tough. Just feels like one thing after another. I would love for the day to be like, oh, we're just having good stories today. Feel good stories today. Nope, not going to happen.
Well, this is the news.
Yeah, this news is not propaganda.
We literally live in like a dystopian like post-capitalist.
Well, it's like the videos you were showing in the beginning, showing the trucks going down the street pumping like freaking smoke clouds in the air. Remind me of something out from
that's
Escape
like
from New York.
Yeah. It's bad.
Like a fucking John Carpenter movie. Jesus Christ.
It's bad. Yeah. That was what we had for today. It was kind of like a weird scheduling thing to do like in the middle of the day. I happen to work from home on Tuesday, so I'm like a little bit more flexible and I could do this. But Thankfully, we did the show anyway because we had the notes. So
we had the notes. Want to bust it out and
just bust it out. Just have the content out there. Just have people aware. Just 'cause, like that shit's really all this shit is really bad. People should be understanding this on a deeper level.